International consulting firm Deloitte just released the report from its annual Millennial Survey. Today, I'm going to share my thoughts on the results and why I think you need to be paying attention to them. Deloitte, one of the big four accounting firms and a massive professional services firm, surveyed tens of thousands of millennials and Gen Zs from around the globe about their finances and their opinions about society as a whole. Those who were surveyed were born between 1983 and 2002, so the age range includes 18-year-olds all the way up to 37-year-olds. Deloitte does this survey every year, but this year's was particularly interesting due to COVID-19. The original survey was conducted before the coronavirus swept the globe. Because of that, they did additional surveys in April and May of this year to understand how attitudes have shifted due to the pandemic. The results are really fascinating and worth a look. I'm about to share with you my 4 takeaways after reading through the report. But before I do, a quick reminder to subscribe to my channel for more personal finance content. Thanks. Alright, let's start with takeaway number 1. Millennials and Gen Zs are concerned about money. When asked about what their primary sources of stress were, long-term financial prospects and day-to-day finances were 2 of the top 5 results, right next to the well-being of family members, jobs, and physical and mental wellness. While the pandemic seems to have lowered stress about day-to-day finances, it increased stress about longer-term financial futures. After living through the financial crisis in 2008, I would expect younger generations to be concerned with finances in general. It's not surprising that with the pandemic and the uncertainty in the global markets right now, that there is more stress about long-term financial prospects. What I was surprised about, though, was how stress having to do with day-to-day finances has decreased recently. I was wondering why that might be. That leads me to takeaway number 2. Millennials and Gen Zs understand and are keeping emergency funds. I've heard stories that say that huge percentages of people live paycheck to paycheck. That does not seem to be the case with younger generations around the world. Roughly half of those who were surveyed, 54% of millennials and 44% of Gen Zs, said they had enough savings to cover 3 months or more of expenses. Again, this could be because we've lived through the 2008 financial crisis, and I believe it would be even higher, in the US at least, were it not for the student loan crisis. Having heard so many stories about large swaths of the population lacking an emergency fund, it is really encouraging to me to see such a high percentage of younger people being responsible with their money. And that leads me to number 3. Millennials and Gen Zs are budgeting. This one is just so exciting to me. About 3/4 of millennials and 2/3 of Gen Zs said that they actively budget their money to understand how much they can spend over the week or month. This is going to be a very important skill to have going forward in the future, especially considering the circumstances we're in right now. If you're not real familiar with budgeting yet, I made an awesome video on budgeting for beginners, and I'll put a link to that video in the description. And finally, that brings me to takeaway number 4. Work from home is about to get big, and real estate is going to see massive changes as a result. 2/3 of those surveyed said that they felt working from home reduces stress and leads to a better work-life balance. About 60% said they want to work from home more often and would prefer more video conferencing than actual travel. And 56% said that if they could work remotely, they would choose to live outside of a major city. This trend of working from home is not going away after the pandemic is done. It is without a doubt the future of work, and it is going to have a huge effect on the real estate market. There's going to be less demand in major metro areas, which will cause property values to stagnate or even fall. Meanwhile, smaller cities could see a population boom and higher property values. People live in big cities to further their careers. If you can work from home and no longer need to be in a city because of a job, I can see a lot of people choosing a single-family home over a studio apartment. Even partial work from home positions will lead to more urban sprawl. It is going to be real interesting to watch this all unfold. If you want to check out the full report from Deloitte, I'll put a link in the description to their website. They have a PDF version, an infographic version, and they even had a webinar about the results. There are a ton of other great insights about health, finance, and climate change. If you like this video, consider supporting my channel and becoming a subscriber. And remember to click that like button. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew Shear, and I'll see you next time.